We're joined by a special guest. He's the CEO of the British and Irish Boxing Authority. It's Gianluca. Hi, Gianluca. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, hi, Matt. Hi, Lee. And thank you for inviting me.
Before we find out more about the British and Irish Boxing Authority, can you just tell everyone a bit about yourself and how you got into the world of boxing?
Well, how I got into boxing is interesting in itself. My fiancée is Marianne Marston. And she was managed, also we say discovered and managed by Joe Frazier. So I used to be down at Joe's gym, just sitting there reading a book while she was training and everything else. But also because I'm a writer, I used to put out a bit of press for Marianne as well. And so Joe said, how comes Marianne gets so much coverage? To Marianne, obviously, not to me. And so she told him it was me. And the next thing, he gets me involved helping all the fighters at the gym, then actually helping with the gym. You know, the marketing of the gym and all of that stuff, raising sponsorships and all of that. Yeah, so it's a rather wonderful time. I mean, the best time of all on that was I'll be trying to get on with my work, but Joe, if Joe invites you into the back office and wants to sit and have a chat, you don't say no. And the stories that, it's just absolutely amazing time. It really was. And funnily enough, Steve Bunce, he'd always wanted an interview with Joe, never could get one. And he was over in America, I think, if I remember, I can't remember what the fight he was over there for. But anyway, yeah, he popped into the gym on the hopeful, and Joe wasn't there, and I'd spoken. I said, yeah, shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, Joe came in and he was waiting, and Joe sent him away as per usual. So I just said to Joe, look, Joe, what we're trying to do for the gym and everything internationally, be a nice idea if you actually did it. So he said, okay, I'll only give him 5 minutes. So I went and got Steve back, and Steve's 5-minute interview turned out to be about 45 minutes, if I remember rightly. Yeah, fantastic. And then I went on from there. I went with Steve Cunningham and at Schuler's gym when Frazier's closed down. Because while Joe was in hospital, his personal manager decided to close the gym down because he thought they'd get more money for the gym closed down rather than us trying to get it rebuilt. Which was such a shame. So I ended up at Schuler's gym with Steve Cunningham, who Steve's wife Libby became Marianne's manager then. So it all went on from there. Then I come back to England in 2009, got involved with Johnny Eames, became managing director of the TKO. Of course, TKO wasn't just a gym, it was an overall everything within boxing, including promoting. So yeah. Literally covered every aspect of the sport. So obviously at the gym, we got the coaches, Jimmy and Tibbs and Mark Tibbs and Johnny amongst others. I mean, there was about 10 coaches there. So working with Eddie and working with Frank and stuff like that. So all round got a good grounding. Plus the fact you can't do better than having Joe Frazier, Percy Custis from Schuler's, and Johnny Eames as your mentors. So like, got really built into it, really into the sport. And it's funny because BIBA came out of that because I actually became the vice president of the Mortal Boxing Commission first, and basically Enzo Jacopone and Bob, forgotten his name, the president of the EBU, invited us over to Dublin, me and a friend of mine, Alexander Zamet, a former Olympian, because there's issues going on in mortar and boxing. And we met up on the day before the EBU general conference, and they wanted us to create a commission. So we created Mortar Boxing Commission overnight. And on the Saturday, we are now the EBU member for Malta.
Wow.
But how it ended up with now we get to the UK, that was in 2011. In 2014, we were doing a TKO event under BBBofC, and we had two Turkish lads, the Osgood brothers, Thea, and I can't remember the other lad's name off the top of my head. And they were big ticket sellers. So the show was virtually built around those. We done everything that you have to do. We sent all the paperwork in 21 days before the event, not 14 like it's supposed to be, foreign fighters on it. But Dennis Gilmartin was on holiday, and he came back the week of the show and said, oh, it's too late, you can't do it. But we'd put the paperwork in, and we thought, oh, God, we're going to lose thousands here. And I just said to Johnny, well, let NBC do it. And he basically laughed at it. Then the following day came in, he said, are you serious? And so I said, yeah. So we ended up at the weigh-in. We did the BBBofC weigh-in, and then we waited till all the BBBofC officials had left the arena, sort of thing. Then we did the Malta weigh-in, and the following, then on the Saturday, did the same sort of thing with the event. The event's come to a halt, basically. Everybody stayed because we let everyone know, don't go at the end of the, the spectators. Well, they weren't going to. Most of them came from the Turkish lads. And we put the pro section on afterwards, which caused a lot of
trouble. I'd imagine it would, to be honest.
So you got the board threatening Johnny because Johnny had the license, but everything to do with the event was in my name because I paid for everything. Everything was paid for through me as the managing director of TKO, and so that was quite. And next thing you know, BBBoC promoter was getting a bit fed up with the board. We know what the board are like. Obviously, there's so many boxers at the TKO. I mean, besides Jimmy's ones like Billy Joe Saunders and everything else, you had Kevin Mitchell there, Freddie Turner. It just was amazing. Tommy Martin, just a wonderful group of fighters, and so obviously we know what the board are like from being on the receiving end. And suddenly I had one of the board promoters wanted to do an event, and he said, can we do it under you? So we did, and we did a few events over here in I think it was 2014 till 2016. But just after we'd started doing it, I got a phone call from Eddie Hearn, and we were chatting on things, and he said, look, if ever you decide to do a British one, let us know. That's 2014, remember. It took me 2 years to actually have the balls to do it, because I knew I'm not gonna pretend. I knew going up against the board was bad enough as us doing it as NBC, but to come out here as a British organisation, we knew it was going to cause problems. But things between 2014 and 2016 got so bad with the board. And the way they were treating people, they'd taken away voters' rights. That was quite early on. They took away voters' rights, so they were making rules, not taking into consideration the health and safety of the boxers. It seemed to me, it felt to me, as the managing director of TKO, I'll stress this, not as on the NBC side, but as the managing director of TKO, that they were just about the money. And they weren't about anything on helping the fighters or doing anything for the fighters. I was very unhappy at a lot of events. I mean, I'm not talking about TKO events, but other events where we had our fighters on, I was very unhappy. And so decided, right, we're going to do it. And we did it. And all hell broke loose.
I can imagine. Right. I agree with what you're saying, Gianluca. I've worked a little bit with the BBOC. Only one show. Yes. And yeah, I've not looked back since. I've trained some where we've had our very own Archie Sharp. I've worked with. Right, yeah. I've worked with Archie.
Yeah.
Done a little bit of Mr. Cheeseman. And And the things I see with the BBOC, I was like, oh, it's like that, is it?
Mm.
Like, I didn't realise until I was in on the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why I was interested to talk to you about BIBA.
Mm.
Like, seeing what happens. Like, I'm very interested.
That's wonderful. I'd say the big difference between us, besides the fact that we're approachable, and is that our board is very much about health and safety. I mean, we've got Professor Michael Graham, we've got Bruce, we've got so many top specialists actually make up our board. We wanted it to be so that we were doing the best for the boxers. But I suppose the real difference between us is the board act like, if you've got a board license, you do what they say. You work for us. You cannot work for anyone else. That's not right. No. If you're paying a license fee to us, we work for you. Our job is to make everything right, for whether you're a coach, whether you're a boxer, whether you're a manager or a promoter. Our job's to assist you. Our job's to make life work. If there's things you don't know, we've got to do the training courses so that you can learn. And we do the APBC courses, Association Professional Boxing Commissions courses, referees, Cutsman, tournament, full coaches courses. We do inspectors, supervisors, timekeepers as well. And, that's important, as well as obviously referee judges. And it's nice to see the board's actually started doing courses a little while back, because they're essential. They really are. It's like, with us, we've got this philosophy on like the courses. Everything starts with duty of care. So everybody knows what their responsibilities are, regardless of what they are in the sport. They need to know what their responsibilities are, and also to understand that the duty of care goes right across the board. We can go on about some events, BBBofC events, which we will do in a minute, because of when I get on to the health and safety stuff further, where it's just quite simple. If they'd been trained, they would know what to have done to prevent that fighter getting injured. And I'm not talking about the referee, although I am, because in one of the cases, the referee, I think, was absolutely atrocious in allowing the fight to continue past round 3. In the particular one, that's Nick Blackwell against Chris Eubank Jr.
100%.
Now, we all see what happened on that. Chris Eubank Senior's was telling Chris Eubank Jr. by about round 7, stop going for the head.
Yeah, go to the body. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. He's done that for a reason, and he didn't want anything to go wrong. Now, the point is, the cornerman, you know this better than anyone, the cornerman is the closest they get to see it all. If you've got a broken nose, as basically that was right at the beginning there, his nose ain't right, you pull him out. You don't leave it, because that wasn't a bleed on the brain. That wasn't a bleed on the brain injury, like the other things in 2016. That was a cranial being pierced by bones, from what I've ascertained, and stuff like that. And that right on that there, Nick Blackwell, who was responsible for all of that? The cornerman, the referee, the supervisor, the inspector in the corner. Why the hell hadn't he picked that up?
100%. Totally agree. I had a bleed on the brain in 2016.
Oh gosh! So you know all, and what you still have to do now. And this is another thing that never comes out. When a bleed on the brain, it's not then when you're better afterwards. I mean, the person that leads our courses, our Cutsman and Cornerman courses, actually has had a bleed on the brain himself. So the lovely thing about that is he's had the experience, but he also knows what the after effects are.
Oh yeah. So now I just suffer with migraines, Gianluca, really.
Yeah, I can believe it.
I suffer with really bad. I've got other hospital things going on, which they're not sure if they're all connected. But like what you're saying, especially with the Nick Blackwell situation. I follow Nick on Instagram, and that man's totally different.
Is he?
That man's totally different to what we see the Nick Blackwell that night. He's like, in my opinion, he's like half of the man, bless him.
Oh,
like he's slurry. He has a little bit of a train now and again, but he's very slurry. Like you could tell he's still thinking about the past. He's not letting go. Like and that's what people don't see. Like you say, when people don't see that side of it. You think if he's had a bleed on the brain, he'll make it and make a recovery. No, you don't. You don't make that recovery. You're still living in the past. It's not. I was stupid enough to have a white collar fight in November. Yeah, I won, but that's not the point. But yeah, like people don't see that the health and safety, the actual health and safety side of boxing, even in the amateurs through to the pros. I don't really count white collar because that's down to your own will. Yeah, like but the amateurs, they don't see the health and safety into it. They just think, oh yeah, they've had a fight, they've been in a bit of bother, they'll be all right. Yeah. It's not.
No, it really isn't. I mean, that's we talk about 2016. You started off with Tommy Martin early in the year, then you had the Nick Blackwell incident, then you had Mike Towell die in September, and then in November you had Edward Gurkett's incident in the George Groves fight, which I don't know if people know, but there was a court case on that, but the board settled out of court. Just as a Tomlin order on it, and it's not allowed to be said what the settlement was, even though I do know it. If you was American, I'd be able to say it because the Tomlin order covers in the UK. But if I put it out in America or France and everything else, people can know the truth about that one. Yeah. So you had that. So in 2017, the first thing we did, at the end of 2016, we started looking at it. But in 2017, we introduced infra scanners ringside so that we can scan the brain. They're handheld infrared scanners, and they do work. Now, funny enough, I've got a head injury because I used to do drag racing. I used to race top fuelers, and I had the incident of a blower coming through the roll cage. So I've got a bit of a head injury. So when we was doing the trials on things, we're doing everyone. Of course, it all comes through beautiful on everyone, and it comes through on me, and it's got the anomaly shows up. It is that good. I mean, and that my injury was 87. So it was a good time ago. So it's well healed sort of thing and everything else. Yeah, it still does show things like that up. And I've got to be honest, we've only had two anomalies come up on that. They, funny enough, was not on a pro show. It was a semi-pro show with a couple of pro fights on top. So I was there because we had a couple of our pro fighters on it. And a couple of the undercard fighters got knocked out. And I did the scans and I got the anomaly. First one, I said to him, you need to go. His one was okay. That one was okay. The second one was the one that and anyway, so I'd done the test and I wanted to do another test. And the doctor came in and the doctor said, no, he's fine. I said, no, he's not fine. So we did that. We did another scan. It showed up, it came up again that there's the anomaly in that area. I suggested to the coach, take him to the hospital. They did do, and he had a swelling on the brain. He didn't have a bleed on the brain, he had a swelling on the brain. But the point was, he could have, if he'd gone straight into the gym the next day and did some sparring, it would have become a bleed on the brain. So these things are essential. I'm pleased to say, like we gave recommendations. The Australian Commission's supposed to getting them, or they've got them by now because that was about a year ago. We was giving them out reports on it. UFC have been using them, but like I just cannot believe that no other commissions are doing them other than the cost. I mean, we do not get the kind of money. BIBA, our sanctioning fees at the most. For even a big event, you're looking at, say, an event, say this, not necessarily like an AJ type fight, but like a fairly decent sized fight. Our sanctioning fees, including all officials' costs and everything, comes to less than 20,000. Whereas the board, say, we're getting like 5 times that, if you get me drift, or more. And we still got the scanners, but the board and I offered them for their shows even to use our scanners, and they didn't. I just cannot understand why they don't seem to care about the health and safety on the fighters. I mean, that was 2016, and we go back about 3 weeks.
Yeah, there was a Ghanaian guy, wasn't there?
Yeah,
he had he started fighting in the corner, didn't he?
Yeah, funnily enough. I say we do the head injury courses, because we actually do a course which is head trauma signs and symptoms, which is really good. We've got that video of that, and we've got this American doctor who he's done a fantastic explanation of what's occurred and what's caused that. And we've actually incorporated that into our courses now, because it's one thing to explain it to someone, but when you can show them, it is fantastic. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, but that was a very scary one, because I've never personally seen that before, because what you tend to get is it tends to be after the fight. They're in the changing room or whatever, or they've gone home, and that's when everything comes into play. I think the reason why that happened in the ring the way it did was the other fighter had gone out of the ring. He'd been knocked out the ring.
Yeah.
And so he's standing, he's not active still, he's not doing all the active thing. And I think at that point, when he's sort of relaxed down, and the adrenaline sort of flowed out before coming back up again, I think that's probably why we see what we see in the ring. I don't know that for sure, by the way. This is just from all the experience that I've had with the head injuries, because we do a lot of research into head injuries. All the stuff that we know on that makes me feel that is probably it. The adrenaline had gone down, and there was another surge of adrenaline when the fight's about to start, and that's why that happened like that. But I'd like to be able to say that is definitely what happened, but I can't. It would make sense that is what it is.
Yeah, of course. It could be this, and this is what I agree with you, Gianluca, with the BBOC. So I've still got quite a few friends that are involved in boxing, things like that. And they're charging like £1,000 a head scan. Now,
yeah. Now, do you want to? You brought up something there. Carry on with that a minute, and then I'll tell you something that's going to blow your brains out. I'll tell you.
Now, in my opinion, the promoter or the BBBoC should be providing that for the players.
Well, then they get it back another way. They do it through the licensing. So what you said, I'll be honest, I can't tell you what the board's licenses are at the moment. I know they go up every 3 months, but ours has been the same since 2016. It hasn't changed. There's no need to. But it's like this on the MRIs. It's £600. It's 585 quid for the MRI with the board. We're within Health. Vista, which is the same company, we're still only paying 300.
It's absolutely disgusting. Like in my opinion, these fighters should be head scanned before they fight, before every fight.
Reality, that would not necessarily work. I mean, when you've got people that are doing 12-round fights, there's one thing you want to do. Have a look back over history on bleed on brains and things like that. Every single one that goes back, well, all of the 2016 ones, or anyway, they tend to be 10 or 12-round fights. They tend to be championship fights. And they tend to be where fighters have been cutting weight heavily as well. So you've got to take all these considerations in. I haven't... I'm sure there are some where there's been bleeds on the brain, where there haven't been championship fights. But I've got to be honest, every single one that I've got on file is 10 or a 12-round fight. And when I've looked into a little bit into the background, there's been a lot of weight cutting comes into it, which will come under health and safety again. They shouldn't be allowed that weight like that. You see Chris Eubanks Jr.'s I'm not joking. When I see that photograph, I thought it's his head on a Biafran's body, basically.
Yeah.
I would not have allowed that fight to have gone ahead if that if that had been the genuine way-in, as it wasn't, obviously, because the fight wasn't going ahead. But to allow someone to cut that much weight is stupid. I mean, I've been campaigning that we only have a maximum of £10 when the fight is made, that they should only lose £10. Now, it's not because the rehydration clause says £10, because that's that's a different thing. That's how much extra weight you can put on by the next day. But when you look at it, you shouldn't have people like Canelo, who cuts back from around about, I think, 92 kilo down to virtually middleweight when he did the fight with Amir Khan. He came in on. They didn't do a rehydration clause, and what you had there was basically a mid division cruiserweight against the super welterweight.
Mm.
That should not be allowed.
100%. 100%. Like us fighters need protection from ourselves.
Yes, you need protection from yourselves, but also that's what we're there to do. If people started to take BIBA seriously, I'm sure that we could get some rules changed. I mean, what you've got is you've got like, I don't know how to say this without it being very controversial. What you've got with us is you've got the BBBoC going around lying about us to everybody, whether it's the media, the championship organisations, etc. And so because the board's been about forever, they believe it. The reason you don't see BIBA fights or BIBA reports in many publications is because they've been told, if you report on us, you will not get tickets to be ringside at BBBoC show. They can't do that because it's the promoter's choice. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, the Boxing News will only write crap about as if the board's giving it to them. They won't actually write anything positive. Even when we've done the scanner, I don't know if you see the headlines. The headline in Boxing News was BBBofC are looking into scanners. This is off the press release of us buying the bloody things and putting them in operation. BBBofC considering scanners. It's crazy. I mean, they wrote to the IBF. Right? We got Lee McAllister, Nathan DeCastro, Tassim Khan, and I can't remember who the other fight was. We got ranked with the IBF, and so there they are. They're on the rankings. The next thing you know, I get an email. Sorry, a phone call from the IBF rankings manager, chairman. And he says to me, "We've got a letter I've got an email from the board saying that your fight is ain't medicaled." So I was sorry. I said, "Look, email me." I said, "What's the name? Somebody name's fighters. Email me, and I'll email you back their not just their current medicals, but their historic medicals by return." And I've actually got this. He sends it in, and he only left the bloody email on that was from Robert Smith. So I've got that on file. So if the board want to try and make some crap out of this, I've got it all on file, so don't try it. So sending back passives and Nathan straight away, because I am not considering in the southern area, central and southern area, but the Scottish ones, the medicals are held by our CMO in Scotland. So I got the I'd send those the following day, but we sent them in, and our fight is stuck remained ranked. It's just, this is the problem, is that people don't look into things. They take people at their word, and when you've got an organisation that is the way that the board are, which I know later on we'll get onto. I'm sure we're going to be talking about Connor Benn, and I'm going to enjoy that. when you've got organisations like that is in charge of boxing, supposedly, and we're the ones that's being told that are dangerous. We have professors, we have the top people that you could possibly have looking at fighters. We're increasing our medical board even further. To me, it's important. The boxers come first. Their health and safety is more important than anything else on this earth.
Do you think the board are scared of the competition, or do you think it's just about control, really?
Well, it's all in the name, isn't it? It's British Boxing Board of Control. What a lot of people don't realise, by the way, the British Boxing Board of Control as we know it today isn't the one that was set up in 1929. This is the one that was set up after Michael Watson, because they went bust. This is the one that was set up after Michael Watson. And this is set up after an incident where they were failed, and they've not improved since. And they go out saying, look, we're dangerous. We're basically white collar. I tell you what, you don't get pressure, Eddie.
I just think with what you're doing, Gianluca, is what a boxing across the board should be doing. They should be taking care of their fighters. They should be taking care of us in general.
Yeah, and not just while they're fighting either.
Oh, away from it.
Yeah. This is the problem. You've got the fighters when they come to the end of their career. Look what happens to the majority of your top sports stars, regardless of the sport. Quite often it's a bit of sniff or drink seriously on the drinking or whatever, but mental health is a very important part of it as well. I mean, that's why we have top guys in that field as well within us, because we can help them. But we also retrain the fighters when they retire to either be referees or judges or coaches, whatever, so they can stay involved, but like actively involved. I mean, I want as many ex-boxers involved with BIBA as possible, because whether it's on the official side or whether it's coaching, because it's important for their mental health, plus back their experience and knowledge. It can only benefit people. It should be being passed on, not wasted.
To be honest, Jan, I'm feeling that at the moment. Like I've stopped coaching because of whatever's going on. I'm looking for different routes now. I'm looking maybe the Cutman route.
Well, come with us and we'll go on one of our courses. And I'm absolutely serious.
You should know the ins and outs of boxing, like me and yourself do, Gianluca.
Mm.
What you're saying is what I've been keeping quiet about.
yeah. Well, you probably did the right thing if you
changing my eyes to see what the boxing world is really like. Because on the outside, it looks glamorous. It looks like there's loads of money in that, and you don't actually realise, like, you're bringing up so much health and safety and stuff, or what actual fighters put themselves through for people's entertainment. And the danger that people put themselves into just so we could have a good Saturday night or something like that as a fan.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, you take that. The other thing, you want to go, as you say with me, I was the TK. I've been in gyms because of Marianne. It's all her fault. And I've been in gyms. So you see what the fighters put themselves through on a day-to-day basis to go out and perform. They deserve proper money for what they do. It's a shame that it doesn't work out that way. You've got a handful of people who earn big money, and you got everything else. It's like I wish that people would stop thinking that the heavyweights is the Formula One of boxing, because it's some of the worst boxing. It should be about fighters, the best fighters, better they are, the real way to go. That's when they're earning, they get to make the serious money. And it should be from what they achieve, not just because they're fighting in a heavyweight division.
Obviously, I'm a little bit biased because of Archie, but I love the super featherweights at the moment. I can watch them all day.
It's more exciting fighting the lower classes. They really are. I've got to be honest. I find it a shame that we don't get more of the lower divisions. We tend to start in this country. The majority of fights, it appears, I'm probably well wrong when you go right across the whole sport, but it appears to be like super welterweight upwards. The majority of the fights, percentage-wise of the lightweights down, it's much lower than it should be, which is such a shame, because they tend to be the most exciting fight.
With your fighters, how do you go about licensing them?
It's the same process, more or less, as the board, without the waiting 3 months to get your meeting. We're a little bit different. If we know that they're a pro boxer already, that's a different situation. If they're, I don't know if you know, the board started since Nick Black, I don't think because of Nick Blackmore, but they used to allow people who came up from the semi-pro or the unlicensed scene to be licensed if they showed the ability, which I think is the right thing to do. It doesn't matter if you chose not to go the amateur route and you chose to go that route. If you've reached the standard where you can be pro licensed, there's no reason why you shouldn't. But for some reason, the board has stopped doing that. The only thing there is, what's their choices? They either then go to BKB, carry on fighting on the licensed scene, and that. But there's some of these kids got serious ability, but they've never had an amateur career, so why not? So anyway, but as I say, get back to the process. You don't have to, with us, if we sit and talk with people, normally we like to have the coach involved in discussions, because if anyone's going to be able to tell you their ability, we have them send us videos and things like that. No, I don't want to see videos of people on bags. I don't want to see videos of people. I want to see them fighting so that I can assess their abilities. Now, most fighters that come with us, they do come through a pro coach, and it's a lot easier for us for the process that we prefer. But when we have had someone that hasn't, we do the videos, or else we'll do a sparring trial, which the board stopped doing years ago. And I'm sorry, a sparring trial, if you've got no video or no coach's feedback, is really the only way to know. So we still do those. Then you need to have your medicals, which is medicals, blood work, eye tests, MRI. With us, you're looking at it can cost, and the license is £100. So that's your cost. So it can be as low as around about 550 quid to get a pro license if you're using your own doctor, which we actually always advise people to do. Get your medicals done by your own doctor. The board tend to want you to go to their doctors, and the cost is higher. Yeah. So as you said earlier about £1,000, it was £1,000 before they put the MRI prices up. So it's about £1,200, your medicals and everything down with the board. With us, it could be as low as £550. It's as simple as that. And probably at the most £7. Because there's people like 610. Because people like MP at Fit to Box, she does the medicals and the MRI all in £510. So that's that's everything, and then all you've got is your £100 for your license. So, and your eye test, which is 10 to 25 quid depending where you go. So it makes it more affordable. And when you had fighters, the other thing for a fighter is they have to do this annually. What we always advise is, if someone's got a license and it's come for a renewal, don't renew it yet. Wait till you've got a fight coming, because you'll need your new medicals. So they've got a fight coming a couple of weeks before it. They've got a whole year's of medicals in date. Whereas it could be 3 months before you get a fight. That's a quarter of your money gone down the hole. You know? But it's funny, talking on those things. We had lockdown. We spoke with our insurers and our medical people, and basically we suspended everybody's license medicals for the whole period, except for the fighters that fought on the behind the closed door shows that we did. We actually did those. There was no money to be made in it, but the fighters still got paid. They got everything. In their cases, theirs got up to when they were fighting, and so they had that period for free. But we did that. Whereas everybody's licenses run out. Everybody come over that 2020-21 period. Basically, most people had to get their medicals done before they could even consider fighting again. Whereas when people came with us, they were able to come back and fight because we reissued the licenses, and they came from that date, which I think is the right thing to do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, makes you right.
It's about the fighters. It's not about us making money.
No, I'll make you right. I'll make it right. I don't know. I didn't really talk to boys about it lockdown and that. But no, that's the right thing to do. Like, I liked what you're doing, Gianluca. I really do. I really do, and I hope others, not mentioning no names, take a leaf out of your book for the health and safety and what you're doing, and what you're doing for your guys. I'd tilt my hat to you.
Well, that's one of the things. Is I'll put it quite simply. As I say, Marianne, when Marianne jumps in that ring, I want everything to be about her being safe. It's boxing, it's not safe, but I mean, as safe as it can be. I feel that way because that's my other half in the ring. Yeah. And I'm sure everybody else feels the same about their other halves in the ring. If they're fighting BIBA, they've got me acting in that way, and they've got all of our officials who are all just the same sort of mindset as me. They are all about the fighters as well. It's funny, isn't it, when you've got an organisation, how they are at the top comes right down. You notice how officials are at BBBoC events. Not our lot. They're easy to get along with. You can go and chat with them and they'll help you. And, that's what it's about. But sorry, but it's everybody having that right mindset. It's all about the fighter. Yeah. So you've got the people around you. You've got your inspectors. You've got your judges. You've got your supervisors. You've got your referees and everything. They're there. They've all got the same training in like duty care and head trauma and stuff like that. We all know what we're looking for. We stop things happening before they happen.
Yeah.
How anybody in any sport can not take that kind of attitude is beyond me. And I'm over the years, I've spoken out now, whereas I never used to speak out. We do our thing, it's sad, it's sad. No, I'm angry. I'm extremely angry that all treat boxers the way they treat them. And they think that they're God Almighty and these minions have no importance. That's wrong. They are the important one. I'm an irrelevant character. What do I do? They're in the ring. I'm just sitting there doing the piece of paper and making sure they're safe. You know what I mean? I'm not important. They're important.
All this sort of backlash you get from the media and stuff like that, because you put it like it's not a simple thing, because it's obviously hard, but you've got such a caring nature that. Why do you continue? Because it'd be really easy just to walk away from it, wouldn't it?
I'm going to tell you now. This is actually true. I nearly walked away. Spoke to our main promoters and everybody else, and I said, "Look, I just cannot. I just can't continue doing this." I can't remember what it was that set it off. Well, obviously, I think I just can't be bothered anymore. No. There's something. Yeah. There's something was on it. There's a ball. Yeah, we were made to sound like we're unsafe, and I thought, I'll just give up. This is somebody that knows us who this was, and I thought, they've come out with this crap to the board on behalf of the board because they're now a board fighter. And I'm actually getting the same at the moment from Nicola, in a way, from Nicola Hopewell. Nicola Hopewell knows that she's 8-0. She knows that she had 6 fights, won 2 titles with BIBA. She knows they're pro. Yet, and she's a lovely kid. I adore that kid, and I really wish her well. Don't go well with the board, you'll always be welcome. I mean that. And I've said that to anybody that's gone that way. You know, she's absolutely insisting she's only a 2-0 fighter. Now, I know that's not Nicola. I don't know if that's her promoter or her manager forcing her into that, or the board, but it's not Nicola. Because, you know, but this is what you get. We help the fighters, we do things for the fighters. And I've always said to any fighter that comes with us, if you wanted to go with the board, we'll always support you and help you. I've even helped fighters get with the board. They didn't come with us at all. I had fighters that had issues with the board, and I'll introduce them to someone. I did it the other day. I put a lad that was having problems with central area of the British Boxing Board and Control, and I gave him Mick Collier's phone number, the Southern Area's chairman. I said, look, Mick's a good guy, explain him what's gone in, he may be able to help you. Unfortunately, that kid's now coming with us. But like, because of the way we were to him, not because it's just doesn't think it's worth pursuing the board now, because why? You know, I'm going to get better treatment here. What, you know, it's crazy. I've gone a bit serious, didn't I?
Listen, no, I like this talk. I like digging into it. You know, like some of the things, like obviously me and Lee talk privately, and that's what I listen, mate. You don't want to go. You don't want to go there. Like, but no, it's nice for you to, as a guest, to let us in on your ways and what different organisations do.
Yeah,
that's different. I like that.
Yeah, well, I've got to be honest. There's some seriously good commissions in the world, and I would, if I'm going to be absolutely honest, the BBBoC have got a lot of good about them. If only they would change their whole attitude and be about the fighters and making things safer for the fighters, there'd be no need for us. There wouldn't be. If they treat the fighters right, there would be no need for BIBA. Because everything will be wonderful because the fighters will be protected, they'll get plenty of fights, and it'd be nice, but unfortunately it isn't that way.
Did you ever, it's probably just a while, never going to happen, but linking in with the board and becoming one?
Yeah, but they'd have to come into us, not the other way around. I would not go in, if anybody was taking anyone over, I'd take them over and incorporate them into us. I would not want to go the other way, because they are not fit for business. They're not fit for purpose. And funny enough, I'm not the only person that said it. Guy and talks full. But he's saying they're not fit for purpose, and they're not. And especially, you know, it's proved with not only the Connor Benn crack, but also the Ian John Lewis crack. Because it might sound funny, but what they did to Connor is exactly what they did to Ian John. So everybody thinks Ian John was downgraded because of his scoring on the Casserole Taylor fight, and it wasn't. And what's more is, when it all comes out, you're all going to be shocked, and I think everybody's going to be calling for someone's head to roll at the BBBoC. Because I know it inside out. See, a lot of people have abused us over that. Oh, we've only taken him on because the ball, you know, he's been downgraded from the ball. No, we took him on because he's a bloody good referee and judge, if not one of the best in this country. And I know the facts. I know exactly what it's about. And that notice that they put out, they made it sound that they called him in, they spoke to him on the thing, and they were satisfied. He even said on the letter, they were satisfied with his reasoning, his explanation. But they've downgraded him. And when this does come out, I mean, I can't wait for this to come out. It is that. And when the truth comes out on this Connor Benn thing, when this has happened, my first reaction was, I actually congratulated the board for cancelling the event, by the way. I actually put out, I applauded them for that. I would never have written that if I knew the whole what's happened in. And again, when they put out that notice, Connor Benn gave up his license for the right reason. He doesn't feel that he should be boxing until he's proved his innocence. So he signed his license, which I think is a wonderful thing. And I've had this from a very good source, but a very close associate of both Nigel's and mine. You know, he was thinking about it, and it's just that when it came through, the letter for the thing, he thought, well, better do it now. So that's why he did it. He done that because he wanted to prove his innocence, which is one of the things he wants to work, because they put that letter out, everybody is absolutely categorically calling him a drugs chief. I'm not saying he isn't. What I'm saying is it's the way it was done. It's not fair, because if he is innocent, it's going to be really, he's now in a situation of being guilty until proved innocent. It's not that way. It should be innocent until proved guilty. You got the B test, you got all that, but there are situations. I mean, what we've done since this incident happened, our CMO, Professor Michael Graham, started doing research into not only just clomidine, but other banned drugs in the food chain. Just to see if it is feasible, you know. And it's funny because, like, a lot of people have been. Ben Doughty posted up something from the coach for one of the Olympic guys that got busted on the same thing at that time, and he was saying, like, you need to have 70 eggs, you know, like to be able to get any kind of level. That's actually not true. Clomiphene, if it's in an egg, will produce between 82 and 266 pgml. And by the way, the water maximum that you're allowed to have of clomiphene in when you have a drug test is just 5. So I've just given you figures of 82 and 266. So it'd be well and truly over the 5, and that's 2 eggs. Now, also we looked into how long it stays into your system and all this and that to produce a trace, which we've been told is 0.2 pgml. For that, you know, trace that literally could come from anything. Now, clomiphene or variants of that kind of drug are used for fertility boosting widely in agricultural fields, chicken, ducks, turkeys, sheep, cows, pigs. So it's quite feasible. Now, one of the other things is it's not authorised for use for fertilisation boosting in animals in the UK if they're going into the food chain. That's actually not allowed. But it's widely in use quite a lot around the world, including Europe. Now, go back, I can't remember when it was, it might have been a couple of years ago even. Remember the shepherd's pies with horse meat in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, hang on a minute, they've been doing that for a long, long time and no one have picked up on it. How do we know they're not using meat coming from a fertility boosted situation with clomiphene? We don't. This is the problem. And so to make an automatic accusation, I mean, everyone's saying he's a drug chief. Trace point is 0.2. I told you what the levels are from just eggs. Now, the reason with the UKDA test as well, it wouldn't have even shown because their their maximum allowed in the system is 0.5. So if it's only 0.2, why was it ever reported in the first place? BARDA do not have a minimum. A maximum or a minimum. So any reading is reported by BARDA, Which
So
is,
it could have been 0.01 and it still counts as a trace
it
reading.
still counts as a trace. Well, just been handed a note. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say in whey-based protein powders also include the clomiphene. Yeah, Marianne's a nutritionist, and she also reads.
Thank you for that information, Marianne.
They said hi to you, Marianne. There's so many ways. There's so many ways it could have happened. And if it is 0.2, the trace reading, I'd love to get hold of the VAR thing. I have written to them and they haven't said it because we're not involved in the case or anything else. Or they might do now, said this to you. If it does read as 0.2, then everybody owes Connor an apology because that is absolutely zero. That
helps explain why it may have not shown on a UCAD test, because that's what, again, as a casual fan, that's what people are not understanding. Why has it failed on one but not on the other?
Yeah, but let's say the minimum.
Instead, it makes perfect sense why it wouldn't have shown on one test but did on the other.
Yeah.
So it makes things more. The situation's been handled by everyone.
It's been terrible.
As hung him out to dry in a way because of he's getting all the flack. But then the casual fan who doesn't understand the world of boxing at all, it looks like he's failed a test, he's saying nothing, he's given up his license. The fight was postponed. I mean, the traces come out before that. So as a general dog's body fan, it looks really bad.
It is really bad the way the whole thing's been done. Bearing in mind is the board knew from the 23rd of September about the VADA trace reading. Now they obviously decided, and I'm going to turn around. I'm going to be absolutely upfront to everybody. If I got a VADA trace reading of 0.2 and then there's a minimum of WADA, I would allow that fight to go ahead. I wouldn't think so. There may be a reason why the board's done it. I'm actually giving the board a way out here. Right, 23rd of September, they knew of that. Now, you've got to bear in mind is that there was all the stuff coming out of the Daily Mail that Chris Eubank Sr. didn't want his son to do the fight. Yeah, well, none of us knew what that was about necessarily because he wasn't clear. Seeing Chris on the cut and weight thing, I understand now. That was almost certainly about that. But I wondered if because bearing in mind is they would have been informed as well. I wonder if that's why the board acted when it came out in the Daily Mail. You know, and they said, oh, we'll have to do something now.
Do you think the promoters had a responsibility back in September to maybe just let people know that there's something going on and we're going to postpone the fight? Or do you think they needed just to wait to the boards?
I've got to be honest. The promoters should just be focusing on making the show go ahead. So it would have been the responsibility of the board to have kept him involved day to day. I would like to think that most promoters, and I don't know Eddie as well as I know his dad, but I think in Barry's case, he probably would have sat down and gone through everything before making a decision to proceed anyway. I don't. And I think he would have looked at all angles. He wouldn't have done something in a rush or whatever. He'd look at all angles. Because at the end of the day, that's cost them millions. You know, what nobody actually realises here, that's cost Matchroom millions, let alone the fighters, their purses. That happening in that way, out of their control, without proper consultation or facts being given in reality. I don't know, maybe they were talking before. The way Eddie was shocked that it didn't go ahead. I know Wasserman's still believed it was going ahead, even after, you know.
I think I'm just giving my opinion as an outsider looking in. I think what didn't help the situation was on the Wednesday night, how Wasserman and Matchroom were saying, well, we'll just go look at another sanctioning body or we'll go to the law. My point was what I'm saying. So that happened on the Wednesday night. And then on the Thursday, it was like, oh no, the board had made a great decision. It needed to be called off. And I think that's what people are not understanding. But Eddie has come out since and said, you've got to think he just had this news and then he turns up to a place and there's a load of cameras in his face. and everything come out public, so he didn't have time to process it and think about what he was going to say. So I get it might have been a knee-jerk reaction to say, "Well, sod the ball, we'll go somewhere else, or we'll get lawyers involved."
They were talking. I do know that. I do know that Wasserman's was talking to someone else because they called me, the other commission.
To help the credibility sometimes of the promoters, because it seemed like they'd done a U-turn in 12 hours. 1 minute they were going to do everything they can, and the next minute, because there was a backlash of saying this fight shouldn't go ahead from the fans, it was like, oh no, it's not going ahead. And I think that's what it doesn't sit well. But
no, it doesn't. None of it sits well. I mean, because of the way it happened and everything else. I mean, as I say, I can't remember which one of the Sauer brothers it was, but one of them went literally on the Friday night saying it's still going ahead. You need one voice. One of the things is my background sort of thing. One of the things is it's like this should have been handled properly. There should have been just one voice. There should just have been one voice. Somebody, it shouldn't have been Connor, it shouldn't have been Eddie, it shouldn't have been whichever one of the Stowlands that was talking, it shouldn't have been any of them. There should have been a spokesperson by out front. This is all being looked into, calm the whole situation down. That really is the way that should have been handled. And when you're talking about money and you talk about multi-million-dollar fight sort of thing, I don't think at any time, the promoter or boxers should speak when there's something like this. They should be kept out of the way. We're looking into it. Because one of the big problems is everyone's made a decision already. I say I even did. I even thought, oh, yeah, it's got to be stopped. The fight's got to be stopped until I've learned what I've learned. So you need just somebody out there. Give the whole point down the line. We're looking into it. We'll give you updates tomorrow. And then you go through it. Then you get a statement from Eddie, you get a statement from Connor. And that should have been it. And the board, the board should have put someone out as well to do the same, rather than that statement, which made it sound, because of the last line on it saying it was upheld. That was nothing to do with the drug test. That is absolutely nothing to do with the drug test. Yet everybody thinks that it's been found guilty by that statement at the bottom. And the board do this constantly. They mislead people to make themselves look, I don't know, whatever they're trying to make themselves look like to me, to make themselves look like an idiot. Because I'm sure that Connor will, this will all come out what that was about in reality, and the board are going to be shown. I know that Ian John Lewis is going to come out with I know that's going to happen. I don't know when, but
about being misleading, because again, by just using the word misconduct, the only thing you can think of as a misconduct is a failed drugs test.
Especially since they're talking about the drug test. This is the thing.
It's nothing to do with the drug test, but then again, someone who's not privy to all the information, what else could it be?
Yeah.
In a normal person's eyes, but who's not privy to the information, because everyone, and I get it's an illegal thing at the moment, so nothing can be said.
Yeah.
But like you said, I think, as you said, people just need to wait, get all the information, then make your decision. If you still feel like it's still fair enough.
A big part of that, let's face it, this world's moved on so much. Wow. I mean, social media, people can say what they want. It's getting to be the same in the actual normal media. I mean, I rarely watch the news on TV because it's just people's opinions. I don't want people's opinions. I want facts. If you're going to give me news and give me facts. I don't want anything. I don't want what you think or what the editor or statesman thinks or whatever. I don't care. I want to know facts. You spend a day with me and you see what I do just on anything. Nothing's done on chance. Everything is done properly. I research heavily. Everything, I want the facts. I'm not just going to, it has to be facts. I won't put anything in writing unless it's a fact. Because there's just too much of people's opinions, people giving that. And let's face it, whatever you do, half the country's going to say this on any subject you want. Half the people will support you. Half the people think you're an arsehole.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have the same conversation. Everyone works on they assume things instead of actually sitting back and go, oh, hold on a minute, actually look into this and know what we're talking about and know what we know and then talk about it.
Yeah.
I think I said it to you a couple of weeks ago. Like, and I blame the social media side of things. I blame the social media. It's so easy.
Yeah.
I jumped to the back, and as soon as the message come out, I texted Matt and said, "Look, Connor's a cheat," because I don't know him. Matt was like, "Wait till you see what everything happens."
See, I didn't believe, and I don't believe Connor is a cheat.
I'd say I don't know either way unless we can get hold of the VADA report and say if it is 0.2%, then he isn't a drug cheat. That's just something that's just happened to have got in his system one way, whether it's from, as Marianne bought in the supplements. And this happens a lot in supplements. There's a lot of supplements. And bear in mind, if they're doing eggs into the supplement, the dried eggs into the supplement, you don't know where the source of that's coming from. And trace elements, and we're talking about minutest amount. So minute, and by the way, the reason why WADA have a 5 PGML allowed in the system is because in the food chain in America, you've probably got about 4 to 5% in most things. In quite a few different products, there will be that kind of levels up to 5. Because in America, it is allowed on the fertility boosting, from what I can make out. But WADA set that as 0.5 because it's in the food chain, and it actually says that because it's in the food chain. So I'm getting people that turn around, it's not in the food chain.
It's crazy until you don't know, like just a little bit of information you gave tonight. That sort of made me sit back and think, well, hang on. It makes sense now. So the fact needs to come out, I think. As you said.
If he ends up that the ball clear him and do it all behind doors sort of thing, everyone's going to think the ball is cheating. The Bulls can't win now. They've got to see this through. One way or the other, they've got to clear him and stand up and say we were wrong, or they've got to, and they've also got to apologise for that statement they put out because that was deliberate. That was malicious. That was to destroy someone's career. The same as what they did with John Lewis. That was to destroy John Lewis' reputation as a referee. That is the most disgusting, low-life thing that someone can do. Ruin someone's reputation wrongly. You know? Yeah, and I hope they do get punished for both of those things. If Connor's innocent, I hope they get punished for that. And I hope they get punished for what they did to Ian. And I really mean that. I think the whole board should step down now, because when this comes out, somebody's head's rolling.
Yeah. So what's next for BIBA then, Gianluca?
Well, hopefully it'll get lively. I've got to be honest. After the lockdown, I thought, I've got to fight back. Of course, then what we've had is the Ukraine war. We've had cost of living crisis. Not that many events as I would have liked. Hopefully great. I mean, Beaker would have been our first big arena show. And that didn't go ahead, unfortunately. Again, look at the media campaign against that. You know, that was crazy. And if you look on that, what did they do when we did the press conference? There's going to be brain scanners at Nigel Benn's fight. They're making it sound like we're that scared that we're going to do them. That it's what we do. Growing, it will keep growing. I mean,
before we go, just one last question, and it's just a bit of a silly one, really. But if you were stranded on a desert island for the rest of your life with 3 other boxers, who would they be?
Oh, Steve Cunningham, without a doubt. I've got to call Marianne. Marianne, Baby Tyson's name. I can't. Jamal. Oh, Baby Tyson. Jamal. Yeah, Jamal Davis. Thank you, darling. Jamal, this is a cracking fight. I love this kid today. Worked with him when I was at Schuler's. I mean, he's a little darling. And the other one, they'd have to be Marianne, otherwise I'll be in trouble.
Thank you so much for your time tonight. I would love you to come back on in the new year.
Well, if ever you want
And,
me, just drop me a line. Just give me a call.